Welcome to Woburn Bowl for some coverage of the Pro Series playoffs. This is the final event of the 2014-2015 Pro Series season, and it's the event everyone looks forward to at the end of the year that you're always working toward by trying to win points in the Bowler of the Year standings in every tournament. To get it started, this is these two round of 16 matches. You see Shawn Baker on lane 37. He will be bowling against Bob Whitcomb. And over on 35 and 36, Chris Sacchetti will be bowling against Skip Easterbrooks. Shawn Baker was the number 2 bowler in the point standings this year. He finished second behind Jim Ayotte, who won the Bowler of the Year honors. Chris Sacchetti was 7th in the point standings. So Shawn Baker's opponent, Bob Whitcomb, is the 15th seed in the standings. Skip Easterbrooks was 23rd at the end of the regular season. Chris Sacchetti begins with a spare, but a little bit of a pitch out, just filling it with 3. Shawn Baker with a 9 and 10, and he's got it using the wood, so he's got a spare in the second. Chris Sacchetti with an 8 box in the second, so he's got 21 through 2. And now you're looking at Skip Easterbrooks on lane 35 and Bob Whitcomb on lane 37. Skip is feels right at home, I'm sure, on lanes 35 and 36 because that's where the Comcast Candlepin Challenge used to be videotaped, and Skippy was known as Mr. Comcast, as you probably know among the bowlers, because he was a very frequent participant in the Comcast Candlepin Challenge. He was always at all the roll-offs, and he won them very frequently. So he made quite a number of appearances on the show, as did Bob Whitcomb. In fact, Bob one year ended up holding the big check at the end of the year for winning the Comcast season-ending championship segment. Bob Whitcomb began with a 10. Skip Easterbrooks with a strike in the second box. He gets a splash, and let's take a look at this. Very high hit on the head pin, almost dead center, but he gets a splash, and Skip would make a better door than a window, but you can still see that the pins go to the sidewall and come off each sidewall and break down that 4, 6, 7, 10 split, and that's a strike in the second box for Skip. Chris Sacchetti back up on lane 35. You can see over on 33 and 34, John Winchell is taking on Nick Norcross in another round of 16 match. John Winchell was the 22nd seed, and Nick Norcross was number 38 in the point standings. Chris Sacchetti he's got that 5-pin dialed in. He's made it both times on lane 35. Shawn Baker back up on lane 37. Shawn is, as you can see on his shirt, he's a member of the Lucky Strike team in both the Friday Night Pro League and the World's Invitational Tournament. Lucky Strike leads the standings in the Friday Night Pro League. And there is a fantastic shot by Chris Sacchetti. He took out the spread eagle plus the 9. We will take a look at how he does this. He knocks that 2 into the 9, into the 6, into the 3. That is just a fabulous shot, just a perfect shot by Chris Sacchetti. Very rare that you see that spare converted. And Shawn Baker, after going through the hole on the 248 takeout, he comes back to make a 10 box out of it. That's a great out by Shawn, and he'll move over to lane 38. Skip Easterbrooks was looking for a double strike, but he missed the head pin. Still dropping 8 and leaving the 1-2. And there's a strike by Shawn Baker on lane 38. Here's another look at the strike. High hit in the 1-2 pocket, and he trips out the 6 pin off the wall. Skip Easterbrooks missing the spare, just not quite catching the head pin, so he will be open, but he has a 9 on that strike that he recorded in the second, and a 10 in the third box. He'll move over to 36. And Bob Whitcomb is over on 37. He goes through the middle, punches out the spread eagle. Bob Whitcomb bowls for 20th Century in the Friday Night Pro League. And of course, all of these guys are regulars in the World Invitational Team Tournament, which is held every November. And this coming November, the tournament will be held at Kingswood Entertainment Center in Fredericton, New Brunswick, which is a really excellent venue. It's everybody's looking forward to going up there. You've probably seen some of the segments from the Dave Stewart Memorial Tournament that's held there every March. Kingswood is really an excellent facility. A lot of space in there and excellent lanes, and they have a lot of other amenities as well. And a very helpful staff. They always roll out the red carpet for us when we're up there. Chris Sacchetti working on that spare that he recorded. Just 5. He misses the head pin. He's got the 4 horsemen left. And a nice spare by Bob Whitcomb on 38. He had the 5, 7, and 8 with some wood. And he was able to drive that wood back into the 5-8 and get something to go over and get the 7. That was a good shot for a spare by Bob. Chris Sacchetti trying to clean up the 1 and 7 for a 10 box, and he does. So he will move over to lane 36. Shawn Baker, meanwhile, working on that strike against Bob Whitcomb, and Shawn with a nice 1-2 pocket hit. But he's got 8. He has the 5-10. And a piece of wood that looks pretty good. It looks like it's probably covering the 5, and he should be able to kick it over and sweep both the 5 and the 10. And he does. Spare in the 5th for Shawn Baker. Got a ball coming back in the gutter, but he'll wait for Chris Sacchetti to finish his 6th box. Chris Sacchetti with an 8. So now Shawn Baker is over on lane 38. He'll be filling that spare. And it's a strike on spare for Shawn Baker. Kind of a medium mixer in the 1-2 pocket, carrying everything. And meanwhile on 35, Skip Easterbrooks really stuffed the ball in the 1-3 pocket, but has very little to show for it. 4, 8, 9, 10, and now he's just got the 8, 9, and 10 left. That was, he really threw an excellent first ball there, but didn't really get the desired result at all. That'll be a 7 box. Meanwhile, Bob Whitcomb with a 7 fill on the spare that he had in the 4th. And he's up against, Shawn Baker has 71 through the 5th, and Bob, I think, has 44 through the 4th with that spare fill. It's a little hard to see the scoreboard. Skip Easterbrooks missing the head pin left, leaving the 1, 3, 6, 8, 10 with a piece of wood. That lead is also known as the Caleri, as I'm sure you know. And a nice bid by Skippy, but he just gets the 1 and 3, and the ball was deflected around the 610. He seemed very surprised at that, and you can't really blame him. He put the ball right about where he needed to, or you would think, but it didn't work out. He makes a nice 10 out of it, though. Bob Whitcomb converting that 6-pin after missing it on the second ball, so he has a 10 box also. So Shawn Baker will be extending his lead, which is pretty considerable at this point, by working on that spare. Now this, I should remind you, this is a 2-string. This is the first string of a 2-string match, so despite Shawn Baker being out to a pretty good lead in the early going, there's still a lot of bowling to go. This is just the 7th box, so plenty of time to come back. Wow, and there was an interesting shot there by Shawn Baker. He had the 3, 7, and 9, and the ball kind of went from one sidewall to the other. It took out the 7 and went in front of the 9 pin. Didn't take it down. So that'll be a 9 box. And I think he has 101 through the 7th. And I think Bob Whitcomb has 63 through 6, so he's 29 pins down. Shawn Baker stuffing the ball in the 1-2 pocket in the 8th box, leaving just the 6-pin. He's doing a test slide. He might have stuck a little bit at the line, and he wanted to make sure there wasn't something on the approach. See if he can convert the 6-pin. No, he doesn't. He misses it. He might have been a little tentative because of that approach, or he might have just missed the shot. I don't know. In any case, it's a 9, and he has 110 through 8. Skip Easterbrooks with another strike off a splash hit. Here's another look. Almost dead center on the head pin, but he just gets the 2 and 3 to go to the sidewalls, and they take out that, break down the 4, 7, and 10. So that is another strike for Skippy in the 7th. One of those appearances on Comcast that I mentioned for Skip Easterbrooks was against yours truly, and I'll always remember the way Skip was cheering me on in the roll-off there at Fast Lanes in Stowe, roll-off for that Comcast show. Skip is a very good sport, and he was very encouraging in the last couple of games to me in the roll-off. And then he did a number on me on the show itself. He beat me, gave me a pretty good beating, but it was a lot of fun on that TV show. Skip adding another spare in the 8th. Chris Sacchetti punching out the half Worcester right on lane 35 in the 9th box. So he'll just be trying to work it out for as many pins as he can. It's a tough shot to make for a spare, so he's still got the 4, 6, and 10. That'll be a 9 box. And Bob Whitcomb with some backdoor action for a 9 in his 8th. Shawn Baker will come back up for his last 2. As Chris Sacchetti is rolling in the 10th. And it's another half Worcester. He must be wondering what he did to deserve that punishment. But he's looking at the half Worcester right side again. And again, very similar shot to the one he had in the previous box. A little full on the head pin. And this time he's got the 4, 6, 7, and 10 still to clean up with some wood. And it's a nice shot for a 10 box. Meanwhile, Shawn Baker with another mark in the 9th box. Here's a look at the 10 box conversion by Chris Sacchetti as he covers the 4, 6, 7, and 10 with those 2 pieces of wood. And as you can see, he finishes the first string of the 109, and Skip Easterbrooks has the lead over him. And meanwhile, you can see a 28 pin lead for Shawn Baker right now over Bob Whitcomb. Skip Easterbrooks back up, and another nice pocket hit, and that's gonna go. That's another strike on. He really he's got it dialed in right now. Another strike on lane 35, and that strike on spare. And there's a great shot by Shawn Baker converting the 7-10. We'll look at the strike by Skip Easterbrooks. Solid, just almost a high flush hit on the 1-2 pocket. The 6 and 9 remaining, but he gets a lot of pieces of wood working for him, and eventually the 9 pin goes down. And meanwhile, here's Shawn Baker converting that 7-10 split perfectly, getting the ball to go over and take the 10 while the wood cleans out the 7. So he will have one more ball to roll to finish the first string of this 2-string match. Skip Easterbrooks, meanwhile, with a 6 drop. Difficult leave there. We'll give you the score of each match as soon as they're done in just a moment. And Skip will almost convert that spare. He got everything but the 10, and the 10 wiggled, but it didn't quite go. So that's a 9 fill on the strike. And he will be looking to finish with a 10 box. It'll be a 9 in the 10th for Skippy. And we'll give you a look at the score in just a minute. Bob Whitcomb with a strike in the 9th, and that's badly needed at this point because he's down 28, and Shawn Baker, as you saw, put a couple of marks on the board in the 9th and 10th. So Bob Whitcomb is up in the 10th box looking for a double strike, and he almost has it. Really stuffed the ball in the pocket pretty full in the 1-3 pocket, leaving just the 8 pin and a couple of planks. I think Bob can probably handle this without too much trouble, and he does. So he's got one ball remaining. To try and close the gap a little bit. Just 2, that's a half Worcester right. So Bob Whitcomb finishes out the first string, and let's take a look at the scoreboard. Skip Easterbrooks leads Chris Sacchetti 131 to 109, so he's got a 22 pin lead, Skip Easterbrooks, and Shawn Baker leads Bob Whitcomb 141 through to 119 through, or to 114, 141 to 114, and we'll be back with the second string later in the week.